Welcome back. Now, government has launched an investigation into reports of dead fish on the 19th of December at Nandoni Dam and Luvuvhu River. That's in the Thulamela municipality in Limpopo province. Samples of the dead fish have been collected and preserved for analysis, which will take place when labs reopen next week. We have the Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, that's Minister Sello Seitlholo. He joins us now for an update. Very good afternoon to you, Deputy Minister. Compliments of the season. Thank you for your time this afternoon. Can you tell us what are the preliminary findings just from the initial tests that have been carried out so far while we await the lab ones that will happen next week?
Good afternoon, Audrey, and compliments of the new season to you and all the Newzroom Afrika viewers. And thank you for the opportunity. There's two things. We've done, of course, tests on the actual water resource where the fish obviously were identified to have obviously died. Those reports obviously indicated that the water quality is, there's no issues in that respect. We've also done an analysis, an oversight on the Thohoyandou wastewater treatment works to kind of get an idea of whether there are any sewer spillages that may have obviously flown into the river. Both results, of course, indicate that one, the water quality is acceptable and that there are no sewage spillages in terms of raw sewage that is flowing into the tributaries and into the rivers. So as far as that is concerned, from what we've done as the department, we obviously the big question now is what has actually then led to the death of the fish, because the water quality is acceptable. There is no raw sewage that is flowing that has been identified to have been flowing into the rivers. So we wait for, of course, the beginning of the new week once the laboratories open, the veterinarians and so forth, so that we'll be able to then begin the analysis, the pathology analysis of the preserved fish in order to actually identify really what led to the death. Because it is quite odd, when you've got 5 species of fish, but only one is, in actual fact, in a position where we've identified it as that particular mortality. So we await to the reopening so that we can be able to see precisely what has led to the death of that particular species of fish.
And are you in a position to tell us which type of fish has been affected out of all those 5 that are known to be in this dam? And what does it tell you about what could have possibly caused this seemingly contamination?
That's a very good question, but I certainly do not have the answer to that, unfortunately. We of course trust our colleagues in Limpopo, the DWS regional office, who have obviously taken a proactive steps in terms of the analysis of the water and so forth and so on. And I suppose that question, Audrey, would then be responded to once we have obviously gotten the results back, once we've tested the fish, in as far as what is its state and what are we finding, so that we give a scientific response to some of these questions. I seemingly forgot the name of the species of the fish, unfortunately.
And how much of the river or the dam would you say has been affected by this? Or if you say the water has been tested and it looks fine, but how much of that stretch of the dam have you seen this dead fish being realized?
The report that we received as a department spoke about, upstream 10 kilometers, from the actual area where the fish were identified. I will be going to Limpopo myself in the coming few weeks as part of my oversight in terms of wastewater treatment works infrastructure, so that I can be able to look at the Thohoyandou wastewater treatment works, for example, and see whether that which has been reported by our colleagues in terms of no contamination of raw sewage into the stream is in actual fact correct. I don't doubt that it isn't, but I would imagine the tests that have been done where it is necessary for the test to be done. We'll be engaging with our colleagues in Limpopo to actually be able to then tell us in terms of the radius, in terms of where exactly have they obviously tested, and whether the other parts of the river are safe from whatever it is that may have led to the death of the fish. But as it stands, we take, of course, the results, the laboratory results that have been put to us as the department, and accept that the water quality is acceptable and that there are no issues in as far as that is concerned.
Yeah. So wastewater has been ruled out, but I understand there was a test that was also conducted for possible oil contamination after a substance, I think that was resembling oil particles, was observed floating on the river water.
Yeah. That was essentially on the report. It indicates that particular oil-like substance may have been due to the dead fish. Of course, as they contaminate, as they decompose, if I should put it like that, they would obviously resemble that oil-like substance. I'm not too sure what the results of that has been as yet, but I would imagine that in the coming week or so, once we begin all necessary pathological test on the actual preserved fish, as well as any other related test, we would be able to then conclusively say whether that was actually oil spillage or not. At this point in time, one does not want to speculate, of course, in terms of whether that is actual oil or whether that is actually from the decomposing fish. So we leave that for now so that we can be able to respond conclusively and not just speculate on whether it's oil or not.
Yeah. And Deputy Minister, how much of a risk does this pose for the communities around these dams and rivers? Have they been informed about it? And what measures are they taking to ensure that it doesn't affect them? Because I assume if it's affecting fish, there's a high possibility that it could be toxic to human beings as well.
Yeah. When the minister learned, of course, of this particular incident, I think the first thing that needed to be done was for us as a department, as well as the municipality, to send out an alert to communities to say they should not be, taking the fish, whether it's for selling purposes or whether it's for consumption, because we still don't know what led to the death of the fish. So we obviously continue to urge communities in and around the dam to not, take that fish and sell it or consume it until such time that we're able to be in a position to conclusively indicate that this has led to the death of the fish. And as such, whatever the results may very well be, would obviously determine the kind of communication that we obviously proceed with in the context of the community. But for as it stands, we need to urge our community members not to take that fish, not to consume it, not to sell it for whatever purpose, until such time that as a department we've got conclusive report on what has actually led to the death of the fish. As I indicated, it's 5 species of fish. Only one species of fish obviously has suffered the fate in as far as this is concerned. So we need to obviously get to the bottom of that, and we can only do that scientifically, unfortunately.
I suppose we'll continue that conversation after those conclusive results have been finalised next week. Deputy Minister, thank you for your time this afternoon. We certainly appreciate it. Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, Sello Seitlholo.